Part two of the squat series, where we're talking about everything that's going to help you improve your performance in the gym, everything from safety to technique and drills. So we already talked about how to safely set up for the squat before you actually start doing it. Now we're going to talk about the most important pieces to getting started in your setup for your technique. So today we're going to talk about getting under the bar and actually stepping out to actually get into your stance. First and foremost, let's talk about getting under the bar. We want to start out with putting our hands in a proper place, okay? You can go shoulder width, right outside shoulder width, or really wide. The tighter you are, the better it's going to allow you to stay tight, let that barbell rest on the shelf, whether you do high bar or low bar, and actually have your hands just kind of hold it in place in the spot where we're going to be most efficient. The wider you are, the harder it's going to stay tight. You got to have more focus on staying tight through your lats and your core. Now, people who are bigger, men and women, or may not have as much shoulder and thoracic spine mobility won't be able to get real tight to be able to do so, and that's fine. But the drills that we'll talk about in another video will actually allow you to warm up effectively and allow you to get into that position. Same thing with the front squat. When we're getting into that wrist position, or our lats may hinder us from keeping our elbows up. The same as with the back squat, where you have to learn how to get tight and pull that torque. So our hand placement is very important. I go right outside of the shoulders. It's a perfect spot for me, and I don't have any elbow pain. Then when you are getting under the bar, everybody does it a little differently. I am somebody who thinks whether you are warming up or maxing out, that you need to aggressively get under the bar. For me, that does two things. It allows me to stay tight in my back, and it also allows me to get that bar in the perfect spot and remind me of where it needs to be and where it needs to stay. Helps me stay even on the bar, right? So sometimes people will get in and the bar will be lopsided. Helps me stay even when I get under and I attack and I basically shove that bar into my shelf or my little ridge that I'm actually having the barbell sit on. So that's how we want to get under the bar and attack. When we're there, we want to get our feet placed underneath us square, just as if we were about to squat straight up and down in that position. And we want to be able to brace, push off, step back. Now, the step back. Everybody does this very differently, but the most elite lifters do it very precisely. If you are somebody who walks all the way back out of the rack to get into the middle of a platform, you are doing this absolutely wrong. If you are somebody who takes 3, 4, maybe even a little fifth step, you're good. But the ideal steps is going to take 3 steps. I want you to remember them like this. You got the drag, you got your stance, and then you have your correction. Those are the 3 steps that you should take. So the first step is to get out from underneath the hooks. The second step is to actually measure out your stance, your width that you usually step in. And that third step is with the other foot that's going to actually now correct it and make it more perfect. After you're in your position, you can use a pseudo 4th and 5th step in order to get your toes pointing to the right, the perfect spot for you. Most people point slightly pointed out, and that's fine because most of us don't squat with our toes pointed straight forward. Just remember that wherever your toes are pointing, that's where your knees are going to go when you're squatting, making sure that our knees are not collapsing and caving in. That's the basics of how to get started underneath the bar, getting the bar out of the rack. In the next video, we'll talk about actually performing the squat as far as getting down and back up out of the hole, getting through your repetitions. So look out for that. And if you haven't subscribed yet, hit the subscribe button, give me a like and set your notification so you can stay up for more content like this. And as always, outwork the you from yesterday so you can look back and see how far you come. Get better one day, one rep at a time.